My name is Brigitte Angerhausen, and I'm working as a freelance sound engineer for many years. And I'm also working for the WDR in the music production, recording big symphony orchestras or any other kind of live concert event that is taking place in the Cologne Philharmonic Hall or in the big Sendesaal of the WDR radio station. And that varies from jazz to pop music to deep classical, contemporary classical music. So that's my background, and as a freelancer I've also been working a lot with acoustic instruments, recording acoustic music, and this is my space where I then take my recordings and do the mixing and the editing and the final processing. Also do mastering, also did the recording and mastering of my own compositions and productions, all taking place here in this audio lab, if you wish. I can call myself very lucky to be able to work here in my lab with the Zähl console, 12-channel console, that has been built quite a few years ago. I think it's around 25 years. And the console is still running top-notch, no doubt. It's CD12. And due to working with the console CD12, I was very curious what Zähl is doing these days. And so I got in touch with him, and he told me, you know what, I have a new console, AM1, and what do you think about trying it out and checking it out at your place? So here we are with the AM1 for a substitute for the CD12 for, I don't know, maybe a long time, we'll see. And I started to get into the details of the console, and I can compare quite well from the old console CD12 to the new features that we have here in the AM1. And even though I really like the CD12 and I like working with it, and I get very good results, you know, I'm working here out of Logic, converting into analog, because in my opinion the signal when I mix converting into analog, somehow the audio seems to get more compact together, as if the particles join in a better way. And when I'm mixing just inside the box, I was never happy with the final result. I always had the impression something's missing, and it sounds very flat, somehow narrow. There's no warmth to it. So I love these machines for editing, for doing crazy things, but when it comes to sound, maybe it's my background too, because I've been in the audio business for quite a few years, but I remember a certain quality of sound that for my taste I can only get from analog equipment. So that's why I was very happy that Mika was open enough to say, well, check it out, my new product, AM1. What I've prepared for us today is a recording from a Russian band called Megapolis. It's one of their tracks of their current album that I got to mix here over the summer. Unfortunately, they had to stay in Moscow and couldn't come, so we did some very modern way of mixing with live video chat and running the mix that I'm doing live to Moscow so they could listen to what I'm doing and call me on another phone telling me, well, all fine, but more vocals, less vocals. So that's what we did here. And I chose one of the songs that is one of the singles of the current album. Basic 4-people band, drums, bass, guitar, and vocals. And so perfect for my setup here to mix. One signal I would like to show you how I work with the EQ is, for example, bass. I have a stereo bass signal coming out of the hard disk recording, and there's a very boomy frequency that I would like to eliminate. So usually what I do, I add a little bit of gain into the EQ like this, and I'm searching what frequency it is exactly that's bothering me, and then I can take it out, and then with this magic button, the Q factor, I can decide how much of this unplayed, how wide I want to extract that frequency. So let's listen to some bass. Okay, so now the bass sounds much more, with much more definition and not just the big boomy low end. At the same time, I would like to hear that we're actually listening to a bass guitar played by a real guitar player, and it's not a sample or anything like that. So there's some, maybe you heard it, some noise from the neck, and I'm going to be searching for that aspect of the sound that I would like to feature a little bit. There, I like it. So without really having altered the quality of the sound, I'm able to feature something of the signal that I really much like, and I'm able to extract unpleasant frequency aspects. Okay, another example for EQing, I chose the overhead of the drums, added with some pre-mix with some tom-toms coming out of the hard disk recording. And I observed some low ringing in the cymbals that I do not like, and at the same time I have a tip of the drumsticks on the cymbal that I need for giving the rhythm aspect. So again, I'm using this EQ, and here is the low end frequency of the cymbal that I do not like. When it's not ringing anymore, I have a much more easygoing cymbal drum feeling. And at the same time, I like the way the drumstick hits the cymbal on top. And I can fresh up the entire aspect of the drums altogether. And I'm doing this here also with the parametric EQ and the Q all the way up. So I have a very wide angled filter working not only on, well, what I'm working on ×3, somewhere at between 9K, 9 and 10K, I'm adding in a wide angle some filtering. And talking about drums, and this is something I really fell in love with the AM1, I have here a stereo bass control, and the stereo bass control manipulates the width of the stereo imagery. So I can either make a monofication of the signal, left and right adding, or I can spread up, enhance the stereo bass. And the way the drums were recorded, I have a sort of a mono-ish impression, and I would like to have it a little more open up. You will hear in a little bit how the whole song goes, and we have an atmosphere of a lot of width in the song. And with the drums being more stereo enhanced, I would like to support this feeling atmosphere of the song. And this is magic to me, how much I can change in the atmosphere that the drum gives using the stereo bass control. So let's listen to this here real quick. No stereo bass control, and now I'm coming with the center position, not altering anything, and here we go, enhancing. And now all of a sudden I have the feeling, wow, my drums is 10 times bigger and much more open. To the contrary, what I could also do, I can grab a signal that is rather over stereo enhanced already and I would like to have a little more energy in the center, I can monofy a stereo signal. So this could also be interesting for my personal taste, not with this overheads of these drums, but let's listen to it, how that would sound like. So here we go with the regular center, no modification of the stereo bass at all, and now we're going into mono. And all of a sudden we have a very straight mono, everything, all the energy is happening in the mono center. Can be very interesting on different applications. But in this song, for my personal taste, I like it wide open. And the same thing I also applied on the guitar. We have some beautiful guitar playing here in the song. Transporting big time the energy of the whole piece. And I tried some of the stereo enhancement on that too, and I just love it. So this is how the guitars sound. And now I bring in the stereo enhancer, and now I'm opening, we're going to be flying off. For this song, I really love it. Together with the drums, or with everything else. We have a really wide open picture. So what I really like about this stereo bass control, that it's working so musically, and it's really enhancing not only technically spoken the signal, but it's also enhancing the music that is happening inside. And with the song that we're hearing, I have the impression that the guitar and the drums, they're really flying off, which works perfectly for what I'm looking for in the end mix. So there's another feature that I would like to talk about that I came to like very quickly after a few moments having the console under my fingers, is the insert, which is not just a simple insert on-off button. First of all, I can choose whether it's a pre-EQ insert or a post-EQ, but I can also manipulate how much of the inserted processing I want to be hearing. If I want to hear the dry signal in the channel as is, or if I want to add proportionally the insert sounding effect. And we have a bass drum here that has been played with a lot of dynamic range. I have very soft bass drum hits and very loud bass drum hits. It's very difficult to control this bass drum in the mix. And at the same time, what this button is enabling me, I can add the compression that I'm using and stay with the original dynamical play that the drummer chose. So I'm not giving away the dynamics of the original playing, and at the same time I have a controlled signal due to the inserted processing. So let's have a quick listen how that goes. So this is the bass drum without any inserted processing. And now in this position it's all dry, so we will still, if we activate the insert, we will only hear the original sound. And now I can proportionally, little by little, add the altered process sound. And now I can hear the compression that I inserted here in this channel of the bass drum. And at the same time, I'm still feeling the original dynamics of the signal, which I like very much. Wonderful feature. And of course, the console has a feature like PFL and solo. I can listen to, e.g., my acoustic guitar, either in solo, so I can listen to it where I have it panned in the mix, or I can listen PFL as a general pre-fader listening. But there's another nifty possibility to listen to just my guitar in place with the effects. And that is this mute logic that Michael Zähl implemented here. I can prepare a channel, which is here my acoustic guitar is prepared, and by swapping the channels, now I'm only listening to my acoustic guitar together with all the effects. And if I'm swapping back, everything that's now prepared will be unmuted and I can listen to everything, to all channels. So here we go, everything is back on track. So like almost all consoles, the AM1 also has a mix insert button. But what it also has, which I have not seen in any other console that I have been sitting on in all my years as an audio engineer working freelance, is the MS feature. So I have here my program coming into the mix, and I have the tube compressor inserted. So now the insert is activated. We can listen to this real easily. Now we don't hear anything, and here we are back with the mix. And the nice thing about this compressor, I have a link function, so if I'm altering the compression on one side, both sides will compress in the same way. Now the MS feature enables me to use the left channel independently from the right, alter the compression aspect of the center signal in opposite to the left-right aspect. So a simple way would be, I'm not linking those both. I'm using a heavy compression on the center, for example, and I want to be soft on the side because I like the openness of the sound. So I'm using the MS, and I can bring the vocals and the drums, everything that I have panned directly into the center. I can bring that up in the mix as a very compressed sound and still have the openness of the left and right signal. And the nice thing about this feature is it does not only exist as an insert extra on the mixing channel, but it also exists in all stereo channels of the console. So this is, for me personally, this is a sensational feature which enables me to do some mastering over this console. If I'm doing analog mastering, running my signal over this mix insert, I can do MS compression on an analog equipment running my mastering. So this is very nice extra application of the console. So summing this all up, I wouldn't mind keeping it.
Не занесли пока в опечатку. Значит, не время черным твоим щеглам